I can't imagine the amount of stress that this notary public is feeling right now. In this video, we'll be taking a close look at a real-life situation that is still under investigation involving a Nebraska Notary Public. I'm going to share my screen. Several news outlets have reported on this story. I'm going to start off with the Nebraska Examiner. The date of this news story is October 2nd, 2024. And from what I understand, again, the investigation is still ongoing. I also was able to locate some video on this topic, and so I'm going to do my best to try and link the video either in the description or below in the comments. So take a look at that as well. I know I found that report very helpful in trying to understand what's going on here. And so as you can see in the headlines, it reads, "Notary charged in ongoing investigation of alleged fraud on Nebraska medical cannabis petitions." So just to summarize, from what I have read and from the videos that I have watched, the state of Nebraska is considering approving medical use of cannabis. And one of the steps in that process is for those who are putting forth this initiative to get it on the ballot to vote, they need to produce a certain number of signatures on a petition, and those signatures on the petition need to be from Nebraska residents who are registered voters, and those signatures need to be notarized. And so a gentleman who I don't see a need to share his name, a gentleman who is identified as being a petition circulator. So this is someone whose role or job is to go about and knock on doors or stand out in front of businesses and collect signatures from voters who want the medical marijuana bill passed. He has pled guilty and has been sentenced for forging signatures on the petition and for falsely swearing. And we're not talking about cuss words. We're talking about oaths, affirmations. And the petitioner, the gentleman who collected fraudulent signatures, admitted that he used a phone book and gathered names of individuals and forged their signatures on the petition. Little did he know, some of those names were misspelled. Some of those names, the individuals were deceased and or moved, relocated. And it wasn't until the authorities, I believe, at the election board or whoever tallies up the signatures in doing an audit or going through the verification process, noticed that signatures were not appearing to be accurate. And so when an investigation was open, and by the way, the gentleman in this article, that is not the petitioner, that is Nebraska's Attorney General. But the petition circulator admitted what he did, and his penalty will be a $250 fine and a $50 court fee. And this is because the authorities have identified approximately 200 fraudulent signatures. And again, the investigation is still ongoing. So now let's talk about the Notary Public. His lot is very different. Since the investigation is still open, we really don't know what the final outcome is. And I don't even believe there has been a trial yet for the notary. But he is in hot water. And so this notary now is accused of fraudulently notarizing signatures. And right now, his charge is 24 counts of misconduct. He is at risk of, if found guilty, he could be imprisoned for 6 months and have to pay at least a $1,000 fine. Okay? What's interesting about this is that we've not heard his side of the story yet. But it's clear that if the petition circulator agreed or admitted that he picked names randomly out of a phone book and put them on the petition, there should not have been a notarization performed on any of those signatures. Why? Because those individuals never appeared in person before the notary. I took a look at Nebraska's notary statutes, and really, truly, that's a requirement in every state that I'm aware of, that in order for us to use our notarial seal, the signer must appear before the notary. Granted, unless you're doing a remote notarization, and that's not what was performed. And so, strike one against the notary is failure to require each of the signatures on the petition to be accompanied by the individual signing the document. Okay? The second strike, there's no way that the notary verified the identities of each of those signatures or signers because they never showed up in person. A third strike against this notary deals with financial interests. From what I could gather by looking at Nebraska statutes, it's very clear that notaries are prohibited from notarizing signatures if the transaction could result in if the notary has a financial interest in the transaction. And that is something that really applies to most notaries in other states as well. Whenever it appears, or whether it appears that we have a financial interest or we do have a financial interest, we should not take it upon ourselves to be the notary in that situation. So, what type of financial interest do you think this notary had? This notary, he and his wife own a CBD product store. And again, this whole initiative to get this on the ballot is for medical cannabis or marijuana. And so the notary appears to have had a very clear financial and personal interest in getting this initiative on the ballot. The right thing for this notary would have been to say, you know what? Find a different notary. Because, again, he appears to have an interest in getting the bill passed. I bring this up not to be overly critical of the notary, but for it to be a teaching moment and a reminder to all of us that it is important that we not only know our state notary laws, but we adhere to them each and every time we use our seal. I'm thinking the notary probably thought, who will even know about this? And look, it's on the front page of the Nebraska Examiner. Now, a few of you might be wondering why it seems as if the notary is being punished more harshly than the petition circulator. And I would agree, it does appear. Again, the circulator, $250 fine, $50 court fee, so out of pocket $300. Granted, this is a class 4 felony. It's a big deal, but to me, $300, not that difficult to scrape together and pay. I believe the court will be harder on the notary because he's a notary. He took an oath and swore to adhere to the laws of the state of Nebraska and the U.S. Constitution. And I think that's why we see a more serious punishment should he be found guilty. Again, it's 6 months in prison and or a $1,000 fine. Now, if this had happened in Alabama, and by the way, if guilty, this would mean a Class D felony for the notary. But if this had happened in Alabama, the penalty for the notary would be 1 to 5 years in prison and a $7,500 fine, more than likely. Okay? Again, the notary is a business owner. So now the Nebraska Notaries Commission is at risk, and possibly his and his wife's business is at risk. I just can't see where and how that would be worth taking that chance. And so again, those of you, whether you're an Alabama notary, Texas notary, Virginia notary, Michigan, Missouri notary, it doesn't matter. Know your state laws, require personal appearance as your state defines it. Make sure you take the time to positively identify the person behind every signature. And if the transaction can be directly or indirectly tied to financial or personal interests on your part, decline to perform the notarization. I'll continue to follow this story, and we'll do an update post in the comments section, the outcome once I hear about it. And I just want to encourage you to continue to do the right thing, so that you don't find yourself, so I don't find myself on the front page of our state's county, city newspaper. If you come across a real life story involving a notary, or if there is a situation you are going through that you would like to share with our community, feel free to let me know about that in the comments below, or you can reach out to me directly and I'll be happy to speak with you about it and possibly feature it in our next real life stories involving notaries. Please follow, subscribe, share if you're not already, and check out more of our other videos, which includes some notary training. Thank you for watching, and make it a great day.